Hello, hello. This is our weekly live broadcasting from the Smarty team. We will wait for people to get together and start watching. Before that, I would like to do some introductions for people who are going to watch it from the very beginning as a replay. We represent Smarty Dutch Marketing. We are boutique SEO content marketing PR agency based in New York. I'm Anne Smarty, the co-founder. I've been an SEO for almost or over 20 years. I'm not really sure at this point. It's been a while, since 24. And so I've seen it all. I've seen how it has been developing. I've seen how SEO approaches have been developing. So I'm trying to be up to date with everything that's going on these days as well, and compare what it was 5, 10 years ago and what it meant then and what it means now. So I try to make all these live broadcasts very tactical and very timely, so that we are always discussing something that's going on in the SEO industry, like SEO, Google updates, SEO trends, new tools, AI search, of course, something that we're dealing with already. So please join us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. We broadcast to LinkedIn, Twitter. You can search for me on LinkedIn as nsmarty. On Twitter, I'm X at X. I'm SEO Smarty. We also broadcast to our Facebook page, and I think not yet, but soon our LinkedIn page as well. With me today and always, April, our director of social media. Hi, April. We cannot hear you because you're muted.
Hey everyone.
Hi, April. Thank you for being with us today. April is our outreach expert, our Reddit marketing expert, social media director. She has a lot of hats, so she knows her stuff, but she can also ask SEO related questions from the perspective of not so much of an expert, because that's not what she's doing. So she brings that very well needed perspective to our live broadcast, because it is hard for me after 20 years to understand what people who do not as deep into SEO can be wondering about, and what problems they can have and what questions they can have. So it's always helpful. Please do comment here on where you're watching us from, which social media network you're watching us from, so that we know which one works better for us. And ask questions. Ask questions about anything related to today's episode, or anything that just you are struggling with related to search, SEO, content marketing, link building. We are very much experts in link building as well. Please also subscribe to my newsletter and smarty.com, or it also exists on LinkedIn. So scroll down my LinkedIn profile. I'm Anne Smarty on LinkedIn, and find it's called Smarty Digest. I announce weekly topics there every week and give more context for everything that we're discussing on Wednesdays. And we have relevant research, links to relevant studies, screenshots, relevant tools. All of that you can find in my newsletter. It's a weekly thing as well. So please subscribe and keep up to date with what we are talking about. Now, today's topic is answering quick questions for more SEO success. I will describe it in a little bit. One thing that I've seen being discussed these days a lot, and I've been participating in a thread, I think it was Lily Ray's thread as well, on people blocking all kinds of AI bots from accessing their content. Not just blocking, and it is definitely a decision to be made for everyone personally, but also there are a lot of not a lot of, but a few content management systems encourage people and or give them that option to check boxes which AI platforms they want to ban from accessing their site, and that generates robot text file that lives on their sites. And I would like to just give a quick explanation to what's going on here, and you can make your own decision. I will also describe my own perspective on that, because I've seen a lot of things happening in SEO on related to that as well. Years ago, we had Creative Commons license for images, encouraging people to use images, but also give the reference to images. And there were a lot of discussions as to how that is dangerous for creators because suddenly those images are all over the web, and not everyone is very responsibly using those images and not even giving it a credit. So we've seen a lot of content licensing debates throughout the years, and I have my own perspective on that as well. So what it does when you have a robots text file that blocks AI platforms from accessing your site, they cannot access your site. They do not know what you're doing. They cannot read your about page. They cannot follow the links uh, taking to your site. That means they know very little about you, who you are, your business, your brand, your personal brand. What it means in a long-term perspective is that they will not be able, unless you are all over the web and there are other sites talking about you and describing who you are, they cannot they there is a very little chance they will surface you in the answers. So when people ask who is the best lawyer in, let's say, Los Angeles, they will not know about you because you blocked them from your site. If someone asks what the best SEO in the industry, they would not know about you because you blocked access to your site. This is important, and I understand the logic behind blocking AI platforms, generative AI platforms from its site. People are worried that they will use your content to formulate answers, but they will not reference you. It can happen. Definitely, they are still working on giving proper references, on citing their sources. It can happen. But if you think about that in a different angle, they will still have those answers with you or without you. It's not like it will prevent them from developing their knowledge base. They will still be advancing. They will still be developing. People will still be using them more and more because it is convenient for quick answers and recommendations. But you will not be part of that development. It's your decision. I understand when there is a journalistic research and they worked on that for 6 months. It's very original and unique, and they don't want any AI platform to steal that information without referencing them. Huge publications can afford basically ban AI access to their sites because everyone already knows them. Everyone is already citing them. Everyone is already talking about their articles and research and takeaways. In most cases, they even block people unless they pay for access their content of their content, and they still rank. No smaller publication can afford that. So if you look at those examples, those are not brands or publications you need to be following in terms of their SEO and AI optimization strategies. Smaller people, even medium brands, do not have that advantage of being known without even trying. And that's when you block AI access. That's definitely your decision. I would not do that personally, and that is my recommendation to my clients as well. We want AI platforms to know about you and to know your site and to crawl it. And sometimes, yes, sometimes they will use that information and they will forget to reference you. Many AI platforms are now much more diligent in referencing their sources. So there's a still huge chance you will be referenced. But even if it doesn't happen, you blocking those platforms is not solving anything. It is not stopping them from being soon a very popular discovery tool for brands and content. It is not doing anything. It's just leaving you behind outside of that development. And it's up to you whether you want that to happen or not. In my case, I would not do that. That's my personal perspective on that. If you have different opinion, I would love to hear that. We had very cool conversations about that on Twitter with people who want to block AI access and they understand the long-term let's say not disadvantages, but what it does in the long term for their brands, and they still do not want AI platforms to use their content. They have different points of view. Some of them say that AI platforms just do not give anything. They just back. They just take your content, and that's it. It is not in their benefit, in their they don't want to reference anyone because that's not their payment. That's not their ROI. They get payment from users. There are different points of view on that. I just explained, and be careful with what you're doing when you're using those options inside your CMS, or install a plugin that does that. Keep in mind what it does to you and your brand, and think about pros and cons of both. On a related note, we are actually going to talk today about giving quick answers to questions for Google and AI platforms to use your content as base for answering their users' questions. So why I say it's related, because we are actually discussing how to make it easier for Google and AI platforms to steal your content, how to point them to the quick answer you're providing so that they do not have to search for it. That's why I think it's funny that I suddenly combined these two topics in one episode. If you do not want AI to access your site, Google is also very much stealing your content these days as well, through AI overviews, through featured snippets. Yes, they do reference in featured snippets your site. Sometimes they reference it in AI overviews as well, but it's not like it's organic search. I'm not sure about how to click through on both of those. I personally very rarely click on the featured snippet because it usually does a great job answering questions. But that's still brand visibility. Let's point it like that. That is still brand visibility. And if you're featured, you're doing the right thing. And more often than not, you will also be ranking for other queries or related queries, or it's a good signal that Google trusts you and trusts your content as well. It's featured snippets is not the only have been around for years. We've been optimizing and successfully optimizing for featured snippets for many years. AI overview optimization is very similar. You give quick answers right underneath the relevant subheading. The question is 1 to 2 sentences long, and the most important thing, it's very factual. If there is a price in somehow meant in the question, you need to give a price. And I cannot tell you how often when I look at branded search of any brand, usually there is a pricing related question about any brand, what it costs, what the pricing is. I saw a lot of brands who do not want to disclose their pricing until they host a demo, or you have to contact them for pricing. I understand this is your pricing strategy. This is your conversion channel. This is not something SEO can mess up with because you're making that money. But remember that if you are not answering those questions, someone will. There will be forum discussions. There will be reviews that mention your pricing. So it's in your best interest to at least highlight the estimate, what average user is paying, or what is the minimum and the maximum budget they are looking to spend with you. All those answers should be very concise and very factual. If people are asking about different options, what are the best tools, something like that, you need to give like a very short list of options and then elaborate further on each of them. So your goal here is to give the best answer in the minimum amount of characters. And the best answer should be like you have that question yourself and you read your answer, and it's clear, it is helpful, it is useful, it's not vague, it mentions exactly what could be helpful to answer that question, and then elaborate further if you have more to say on that question. I've listed in one of my previous newsletters, I've listed tools to discover those questions, those keyword research tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, other, and there are also answer the public. There are Google's people also ask, and the tool that pulls them from search results that called also asked. There are all kinds. BuzzSumo that finds questions on Reddit, Quora, and other forums and pulls them together based on your keyword. There are many ways to discover those questions, but always keep in mind that other brands, other publications, other businesses can also use those tools. So if you're only answering those questions, you're not standing out at all. You're just repeating what others are doing. Always listen to your customers. Always be part of the conversation on social media when it comes to your main keywords or your brand, which is very important. Always listen to questions that people ask over your sales calls or over customer support emails. Record, consolidate, organize those questions, and make sure they are all answered on your site. This is the key. This is what is going to help you stand out in the crowd of your competitors, because you're not just using public data that anyone else can find. You're also answering real questions from real people, and no other brand has access to those unless they start stealing those from you. But you will be the source as well. So this is a very important and yet so often missed opportunity for most brands. They get lots of questions from people and they fail to answer them on their site. So keep in mind, this is a very important step here. Whenever you want to answer questions, answer not just questions that people search, but also that people ask you personally. And I know April had a few great questions related to today's topic, and I'm ready for those.
The first one, so when I write content, I follow the format of having questions as a subheading and answering quickly and elaborating like you outlined in your newsletter. Sometimes I'll put like more related questions to the main question in the paragraph and then answer those. I think it would be more beneficial to like break it up and have those questions each have like their own subheading.
It's possibly very similar to keyword optimization. If you have a main question, you make it H2, and then if you have some subsequent questions that are really related but they narrow the topic down to something very specific, then you use them as H3s and to make it scan easier, to point Google to those specific questions as well, because Google does look at H2s and H3s a lot. We've seen it with featured snippets. That has always been the key to get featured, is to actually optimize your H2s and H3s. So yes, if you can break it out like this, so it's a logical, this is the main question, these are related questions. If we can do that, that's definitely a good strategy.
Do you think Google is more likely to link to use questions in their quick answers that are like answered on a specific page for questions like an FAQ?
This is a very good question, because it depends. Usually, Google does look at the page topical relevancy. So if you combine just all your questions on one FAQ page, Google will be confused as to what it is about. This is first. Secondly, it is very hard for Google to rank an FAQ page, to get it ranked, because it's so diverse. Topics are diverse. It's not as well optimized for some specific angle or keyword or cluster of keywords. So FAQ pages do not rank as well as specific pages with topical relevancy on that, around a specific topic. So in most cases, it is much more beneficial to create an article on your blog, in your knowledge base, whenever you host those articles, and list and answer related questions in that article. It will rank better. So, the higher you rank, the better chances that you get featured or you appear in AI overviews. It's always first step is to get ranked. And to rank organically, you need a specific page around that topic, elaborating on many aspects of it, giving your helpful answers in it. You can also answer questions on product specific questions. You can answer on the product page or product category page. It's always great. It's helpful for the user. It is helpful for Google as well. And those usually rank much better than just product pages with no reviews or questions answered. So for FAQs, I think that FAQs are mostly beneficial for relevant for brand driven queries when it is about that brand and about that product that you have. FAQs are usually short, very easy to scan, but people usually check those pages when they have questions about your brand or how you deliver your products, how you manufacture them, how pricey they are, and things like that. These are questions, FAQs are usually about brands, and that's something you need to have on your site because people are usually search for them and they rank for brand specific queries very well because there is no much competition, there is no much organic or other types of people trying to rank for those queries unless you're a huge brand and people want to steal your thunder. But in most cases, if there is like general questions about problems people are trying to solve and you can do that, any specific or higher level or beginner guides on how to implement something, how to use your products, how to cook something using your products, like all of that should be articles, especially if there is a lot to say about that. Usually that's the best scenario, but it can depend.
When you're answering questions, do you think that like adding reputable hyperlinks to like really good quality sources like would be beneficial for Google choosing your page for quick answers?
So officially, and I think it has been just confirmed by someone from Google, Google does not use the authority of references to understand the trustworthiness of the page. Whether it is so or not, we will never know because we will have to look at the actual algorithm to get to have that answer. We know Googlers sometimes are very confusing. They say that no, this is not a direct ranking signal. But usually, what they mean is that somewhat it is important because it contributes to other signals on the page. Also, I think I covered a related research about 6 months ago. That research tried to understand how to rank in ChatGPT answers or Gemini answers, and it was found that the biggest correlation between how likely your content is going to be featured in the answer is with authoritative sources. So when you have references to EDU research, to some very well-known and referenced studies on the topic, to Gov sites citing official information that is confirmed and signed and went through many editorial levels and processes, when you reference that type of links on your page, you are much likelier to be highlighted in the answer from ChatGPT and Gemini or Claudia or Perplexity. I can just go on. But in any case, we also know, and that has also been confirmed by former Googlers and Googlers, current Googlers, is that Google is using many levels of AI in the algorithm these days. So how it works is that there are fundamental ranking signals like backlinks, content relevance, clicks, and I think those can be broken down to many more, like branding, site authority. So we have fundamental ranking signals, and we have many levels of AI on top of that refine all those search results that are being selected using those fundamental signals. Helpful content, for example, is one of the AI developments from Google. So it is not just fundamental signals that Google is using, they are also using AI and machine learning to refine search results they are doing. So if we assume that AI generally likes to look at references, and some research has confirmed that. And Google is using AI to understand EEAT signals of the page or helpfulness of the page. We can assume that somehow those trusted references can be helpful for any type of content, including including everything that is very authoritative and trusted. How you select those references, I usually do keyword site column gov to see what exists, what confirmed information can be referenced from there, like security of some types of top programs or trends, or privacy or healthness, how healthy things are. All of that recommendations usually exist on gov sites, and I usually also search for related research using the same search but edu sites. Always check those sources and references as well. Just because they exist on the edu site doesn't make them totally trustworthy. Check the author of the page, who created the study, when it was. The freshness of those sources is also very important. So generally, yes, especially in those industries, niches like health, finance, security, privacy, anything that is related, kids, anything that's related to your health, your money, you do want some very trustworthy references, however you can make them work. Sometimes those could be a New York Times reference, or any publication that you know with like huge study on some topic. Not Wikipedia, because that's user generated. Not Reddit, because that's user generated. Always pick something that I know Google loves Wikipedia not as much as 2-3 years ago, but it's still probably considered a trusted resource for any reason. But try to find original sources. Sometimes I do check Wikipedia because it references those sources. There is a separate section for the sources, and I click them and find my references that way. But if you have to do anything with people's health, wellness, security, privacy, that is also related to hosting your site or hosting your personal information online. It doesn't have to be health. It could be a lot of other topics when you want to search current statistics, threats, trends, and do give those answers. I wouldn't give those references right in that first quick answer, though. I would elaborate further on discussing pros and cons, any contradictions that exist around the topic. But the quick answer is usually just that quick couple of 2 sentences summarizing everything, and then go below that, talking about how to make things more clear to people. So yes, references work, and do try to create them as much as you can. It's not just about quick questions, it's about your content strategy overall. Even when about page, you always want to link to somewhere trusted where you were featured, for example. So yes, I believe they work. I don't think Google has ever confirmed that, but I do trust what I've seen with optimizing clients' content. And I usually try to get some really, really good references in everything that we produce. And with that, I do have to jump into another meeting. Thank you so much for being with us today. Again, please subscribe and smarty.com, and please come to our live broadcast every week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. We never miss a week, and we're always happy to see you join us. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Yep. Bye, everyone.